At South Mennonite Home, I'm Representative Steve Malagari. I am your state representative. With us today, I'll ask each of you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Gretchen Berry. I'm Steve's Chief of Staff. That's all you need to know. Yeah, you got Kyle back there and Samaya.
And back here, we have with us.
Hey everyone, my name is Kyle Moriarty. I work in Steve's office, and I'm a constituent services advisor.
Hi everyone, my name is Samiha. Today's my first day. I just started as an intern, and I'm really excited.
Welcome aboard, Sumia. And Kyle is actually headed off shortly, not yet, but shortly, to the University of Los Angeles, UCLA Law School. So good luck in law school, Kyle. Couple things about me. So I was elected in 2018, assumed office in 2019, in my fourth term now, and we have been working hard ever since. So we have two offices, one in Lansdale, one in Souderton. Closest one is here, right on Main Street, corner of Chestnut and Main, right across from Keystone Opportunity Center. All right, introduction into the district. So you can kind of see the map of the district. So you have Lansdale to the bottom left. Montgomery Township is that bottom portion, so it'll be on the right-hand side of the map. And then you go into Hatfield Township, Hatfield Borough. Then you go into Franconia, Souderton, Telford, and those are that is the map of the district now. So bit of Franconia, all of Souderton, and the Montgomery County portion of Telford Borough. All right, so I've talked about this before, and those of you who have been here before and seen this presentation, there's three things that a legislator is supposed to do. One, they deliver grant money back to your district. That is part of the job. Two is legislation, getting bills passed and signed into law. And three is constituent services, helping people, making sure that constituents are being helped. Those are the three main jobs of a state rep. So we can talk about some of the money that has been brought into the district. Just in 2024 alone, we brought in more than $18 million back to the district. So that's state tax dollars that typically would go to maybe another community that has their hand out as well, asking for assistance, but that's us bringing it back to our district, which is a good thing. So, Pennsylvania, we have a ton of great grant programs available. Every year we get some new ones. Every year we may get rid of some if they aren't being utilized. My job in Harrisburg is to build those relationships to make sure that we're able to get the money that comes back to our district. So those relationships require meeting with leadership, making sure that you're talking to your leadership within your caucus or within the Senate as well, and building relationships, not just within the leadership of my group that I serve with, but also with the Senate as well. So Senator Collette and I have a good partnership, and that partnership, that relationship that we've built over the years actually translates to money coming back into the district as well. That's used to fund projects or priorities that keep us safe. So that is the Hatfield Police Building that's in the photo right there. That's Senator Collette and myself, along with many other individuals there that are part of that project. In addition to that, improving our infrastructure and supporting local businesses. A lot of the infrastructure you don't get to see because a lot of that's underground. It deals with storm sewers and sanitary sewers. That stuff is buried literally underground. So, but understand it's important, just as important as a new roadway or just as important as a sewer is. We take advantage of it every day and we use it every day, so it's important to have good infrastructure in our area. All right, some of the recent examples of grants that we received. So the most local one, well, not most local, but a local one within some of the larger grant dollars, 1.6 million was brought to Lansdale for the wastewater treatment plant. That's the blower and aeration system that we did down there. Franconia Sewer Authority, another 1.1 million there. Close to $1 million for Montgomery Township. That was for their a municipal authority as well, and then $400,000 to Hatfield for their police department building. So you can see the difference between differences where they're going to, and then there's that graphic up there is of fire and EMS grants. So fire companies and volunteer medical or the VMSC is the ambulance company, getting money going to them as well to make sure that they can support their utilities. All right, so the lawmaking process, this is that second job of the legislator. So making laws. I don't make them myself. I put forward a proposal. It has to go forward through 203 representatives, so 202 minus myself. In addition to that, then it has to go to the Senate to have another 50 eyes take a look at that, and then finally to the governor. So the first step of legislation is a bill. You probably remember the Schoolhouse Rock video. I'm a bill on Capitol Hill sitting on a step, yeah. So the first consideration of the bill is in the committee structure. So you probably have committees here within the organization, Saturday Mennonite Home, maybe talking about activities or talking about what food you want or something like that. Well, we have committees on different aspects of the law, basically. So think of it this way, I serve on the Appropriations Committee, so that's all the money portion. I serve on the Liquor Control Committee, that deals with the liquor system within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I serve on Consumer Protection, Technology, and Utilities Committee. What does that do? That deals with anything that has to do with consumer protection aspects, so that would be like protecting buyers or consumers within the law to allow for them to have a fair shot at participating within the marketplace. So what could that be? Maybe if you're buying tickets to a sporting event, you don't want them to be scalped up right away. This gives you an opportunity to have a fair shot at participating within the marketplace. Also, if maybe some people have had issues with their power bills over the past many years as being a consumer, it's our job to look at those and to make sure that those instances are fair to the consumer. We're not representing the company, we're representing the people. So we want to make sure that the people are treated fairly within that process, but also making sure that their outcomes are for them and not geared toward just helping a company out. All right, so the first consideration is the committee. Second consideration, so every bill is listened to 3 times by design. So the first consideration is in the committee, say the committee passes out of the committee, then it goes to second consideration, that's to the full House of Representatives. That's where you can allow for floor amendments. What does that mean? So say there's a bill to make the state color green, and the representative from Wayne County says, no, I like the color red, so we want to make it red. So therefore, they put an amendment forward, they want to make it red, it either passes or fails, and then onward to third and final consideration in the House. And third and final consideration is the straight up and down vote. And then if it passes, it goes to the speaker to get signed and then sends over to the Senate for that whole process to start all over again. So it's not that if you get something out of the House, it's a done deal. Same with the Senate. Not that if you get it out of the Senate, it's a done deal. They have to go back and forth between the chamber. And the Senate could do amendments on it as well. The Senate could also not listen to the bill in first consideration. And the Senate could just not pass it at all and allow it to die on third. So this is part of the process within legislation that actually takes a lot of time. And you have to build, we said the word relationships before, building the relationships with the Senate really helps in getting bills across the finish line, because you have to go to their leadership then and ask them for, hey, please consider my bill. Please consider this and the impact to the individuals back home in your area that this could have. So that's part of that process. All right, so last session, I passed 5 bills out of the House. Well, 3 out of the House, and then passed in the Senate, signed into law. We actually had 5 signed into law. We had much more passed out of the House. So these were all of them that passed and were signed into law. So we had 5 bills in total. I'm not going to go through each of them, but one of them is making its way through in the House. That is the Advanced Placement Exam Bill. It makes it more affordable for students to access advanced placement exams for college credit when they're in high school. This is something that actually came up due to a local high school in our area, group of students who came forward and said, hey, can you help us get money from our school board to help us pay for our AP exams? I said, hold up, you just need me to help talk to the school board? They said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you just talk to the school board and ask them for more money? Because that's not really my scope. They said, what do you mean by that? I said, well, if we want to do something, we want to do it in a way that we can try and make a law passed. Why don't we try and get this for all students? Because if you're coming to me about this, then somebody else would be too. in another school district. And lo and behold, many, many other schools and many, many other students deal with the same aspect of affordability for advanced placement testing. So if you've heard of the company, the College Board, they do AP exams. They also have the SAT test, all sorts. So we put together a bill, and it had been changed over time, but this whole process started with high school kids with the idea. I asked them and I said, if we're going to do this, we need to make it educational for you because we're dealing with students. So you're going to design the bill, you're going to come up with the language, you're going to find the research, you're going to tell me if other states are doing this, and on top of it, now you're going to put out a co-sponsor memo. Basically, that is the memo that says, hey, I'm putting this bill out. I'd like you to jump on board, meaning to my other legislator friends. So they had to learn this whole process about how we did this and make it a really educational experience. So the best part about it was last year that bill passed the House, and then this year it passed the House as well, and now it sits in the Senate, and this year we have a really good opportunity in making sure that piece of legislation might get passed and over the finish line in the Senate. So hopefully it will, but you never know. Another local bill was dealing with a local funeral home here that had an issue with crematory temperatures. They asked, this is something that had been brought up many, many years ago, and it kind of died, no pun intended, but it basically said, why are we operating at such a high temperature for our machinery? It's like you driving your car at 100 miles an hour without any opportunity to slow down, because the law said you must drive at 100 miles an hour. Well, what if your car is only built to last at 80 miles an hour? Doesn't matter, the law said it. So we brought this bill forward because, one, the operating costs for a funeral home director were getting very high because of the fuel prices, but then also they had to replace the equipment because, again, like you're driving your car at 100 miles an hour, you were told to, it starts to break down over time and it's not lasting as long as it should, and replacement is very expensive. So it was Anders Detweiler Funeral Home that brought this forward. So we ended up working with the Cremation Association and also the funeral directors. These are two groups that don't usually get along. They fight with each other. We brought them together, and they actually worked together to get this piece of legislation passed. And it's helping directly a local business, which was a really proud moment. One more local business here in Souderton, it was Moyer & Sons that we helped out. They reached out with regard to, think of it this way, if you did anyone at home, when you owned your homes, have home heating oil, the oil truck delivery? Yeah? Okay, so the truck would pull up, they'd fill up the oil, and then they give you a paper receipt of what the meter was then versus what it was now. Here's how much we gave you at the cost, here's how much you owe. Moyer started to, a few years back, started to give electronic receipts, almost like you ask for your receipt, oh, have it emailed to me, that's fine. They were doing that. Well, that is against the law. So they came to me and said, what can we do? Supposedly this is against the law, it's archaic, why are we doing this? I said, that's a good question. Why are we requiring the paper receipt? Why don't we just make it optional? If you want to get an electronic receipt, you can get that. And if you don't want that and you get the paper, you get the paper. No big deal. Well, you have to try and pass legislation through the House and the Senate to make this work. This was a very, very tough process because we had to deal with the DEP, which is the Department of Environmental Protection. We'll call them Dr. No. They say no to everything all the time. If you want to change something, no. If you give them a good reason, no. That's the DEP. However, we came together on this one, and we were able to work with the governor's office, work with the DEP, work with the Senate and the House to make sure we got this done. Now, all good things must come to an end. So we got the bill passed, and then shortly after it was affected into law, well, actually almost affected into law, the DEP came back and said, hey, we need you to change the law now. I said, wait a minute, we just got this negotiated. We just passed this. It was signed into law. What do you mean we need to change it already? Oh, well, we didn't realize that there was an issue that we didn't address. And we said, hold up, I think you have a little bit of situational amnesia at the moment because we agreed to terms of this bill. Oh, we don't remember it that way. They were in the meeting with me. I said, okay. So we have to change the bill. We have to change the law. Again, we have to go through this whole process one more time. What happens if we don't? Well, it could be bad for some of the operators in the area. I said, okay, got it. So DEP is working with us, and this doesn't have to do with the oil guys. This has to go back to the cremation people. So we get the bill passed, it's signed into law, everyone's excited, and then they said, we need to change it. So you have the cremation people, the funeral directors, the DEP, and the air quality individuals talking about this. Steve, you need to get it done with a week's notice. We don't have much time left. It was the end of the year. Okay, so we get on the phone with the Senate, we get on the phone with their leadership, we get on the phone with the governor's office, and we say, we need to coordinate all this real quick. Do you think you can make this happen? We can't play games. This is going to affect a lot of people. Okay. They just did it. The Senate fast-tracked it. We got it fast-tracked. We had to work together. It was a big, big lift for all of us to do. All of us working together. This is government working together. Minimal examples of this, but I think it's worth celebrating because we were actually able to put partisanship aside, put everything else aside, and actually get something done quickly. That was a good thing. So we were able to get it done. We were able to get it passed. And most recently, I was at a funeral home locally in Lansdale, and I asked the operator, I said, his name's Mr. Miller. So, Mr. Miller, how's that all working out for you now with the new temperature? He said, thank you. We've needed that for a long time. Thank you for getting it done. So it's interesting what sometimes a constituent may come to you with, what a school group might come to you with, what a business might come to you with. And when we're able to put forward common sense pieces of legislation, they tend to move. And they tend to get the deserved attention that is merited. So we were able to get 5 of those done last year. I think it was the most in the House, is that right? Mm-hmm. At least in our caucus, so 5 bills passed. All right, so the committees that I serve on. I serve on appropriations, consumer protection, technology and utilities, liquor control, professional licensure. So like anybody who had a professional license in work, nurse, teacher, accountant, real estate agent, realtor, those types of licenses. We deal with barbers, estheticians, and then insurance as well, which I serve as the vice chair on insurance. All right, so the third job of that legislator is constituent services. What do we do for people to help them? What can we help with? Where are our limitations? And also, what agencies can we work with in Harrisburg? And that's what this slide touches. So if you have an issue with a state agency in Harrisburg, including the Department of Labor or Revenues or Transportation or Human Services and many, many others, we can help you out. So within the labor and industry, that's unemployment as an example, Department of Revenue, property taxes, the rent rebate, PennDOT. So that includes licenses, disability placards, registration for your cars, or getting giving up your license, as we spoke earlier, giving up your license and then getting an ID card and many, many others. That's within the Department of Transportation. And then furthermore, human services, that's SNAP benefits, LIHEAP, and many, many other programs within the Department of Human Services. Now, Department of Health and Human Services, 2 separate departments within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Within the senior care facility industry, you have the Department of Human Services that is active in that, and the Department of Health. So, for instance, Department of Human Services might be, say you have an assisted living portion, and then you have skilled nursing portion, right? Assisted living would be Human Services deals with that. Skilled nursing, Department of Health deals with that. And you have, it's split up differently, but it can be a little bit confusing as to which department you reach out to with regard to a problem at maybe a single facility, because there's a lot of services potentially within a facility. And then you have independent living here too, which is a whole other aspect. All right, so next I want to talk about Real ID. Now, I was thinking about this the other day, and I realized that we've been talking, my office has been talking, my team has been talking about Real ID since 2019. In fact, one of our first presentations here was what's going to happen in 2020, because that was supposed to be enacted in 2020. We've been talking about it ever since, and now it's 2025. So if Real ID is a brand new thing for you, listen up. But if this is you've heard this one before, that's because we've been talking about it for about 5 years now. So, Real ID. Everybody needs a Real ID or a passport to board a domestic flight or to enter a government building, a federal building, not a courthouse. But if you don't need one, say you don't plan to travel, you don't necessarily need one. So, our office can help. Okay, it wasn't my truck. Our office can help you get your Real ID, get all the documents in order before you head down to the Department of Motor Vehicles, not the photo processing center, not Harleysville. You can't go there to get this. Now, if you already have your Real ID, it's already done, you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and you just need your updated identification card or your updated driver's license. If you already have the Real ID portion done, you can go to your photo processing center in Harleysville. However, if you haven't done this yet, you will have to go to either Dublin, where they take the driver test, Norristown, where they take the driver test, or King of Prussia, where they take the driver test. Those are the three most local. Let's go back to the Real ID real quick. Who here has questions on Real ID in getting one, or if you need one? Now, if you already have a passport that's active, you can use that to board a domestic air flight as your federal document to get on. Does anybody have a question about Real ID? What are the costs? That's a good question. So the cost for your driver's license, was it 30 flat, or is it $30.50?
Yeah.
One of them's $30.50, and then the Real ID is a one-time charge of $30.
Yeah.
One time. So if you are getting your new driver's license and you need to get the Real ID at the same time, you'll pay the $30 for the Real ID portion, means that they put the information into the computer and they hold that in safekeeping. That's a one-time cost of that processing. To get the new driver's license, it's $30.50. All right. Has anybody gotten a new identification card or a new driver's license recently? Okay. Say you just got one, but you didn't get your Real ID. And now you go back and say, I need to get my Real ID because I have my driver's license. I just got it updated. I got my new one, got my new picture taken, pretty smile, all sorts. Now I need the Real ID portion. So what that they'll do is they'll take your driver's license, your current one, say you have 3 to 4 years left on it now. They'll add that to a new driver's license, 4 on top of that. So it could be 7 or 8 years now you have left until you have to get a new driver's license. So they're not taking anything away from you. You're just going to get added years onto your expiration because you paid for 4 years, and you're paying for another 4 years on top of that when you get a new one. If you already get Real ID and you're done, when you get your new driver's license renewed, it transfers through to the next one. So it's not like you have to go through this whole process again. You just show them your card. It already has that gold star on the top right corner, as you can see in the picture here, and that's what they're looking for. Also, within the computer system, it says that you have Real ID compliant identification. And if you don't have Real ID compliant identification, it'll say it strictly on your card, not for Real ID purposes. So it's very, very bold. Are there any questions after that? Yes?
If you have a Real ID, and you're going to give up your license, what do you do?
If you have your real ID and you want to give up your license, what do you do? So you would be filling out a form to transfer your driver's license to just a state identification card.
Where do you get that from?
That we can help you with. Our office can help you with that. And then you'll hand that form in, and they'll give you the new card. There's nothing else that's needed after that.
In the office? You do it in the office, or where do you do it?
I think it's a form.
It's a form. Yeah, Kyle can answer these questions.
Yeah, it's a form you'll fill out. You'll fill out that form and you'll send that form to PennDOT along with your driver's license. And then,
So you can put in the microphone. Kyle's back here.
Yeah, so it's just a form you fill out and you'll send it with your driver's license to PennDOT, and then PennDOT will send you the state ID in the mail. So it's really simple. And if you already have the real ID, then they'll send you the real ID back, but it's a photo ID then. So, yeah, and there's no charge at all. It's free.
We can help you with that.
Oh, and the form. That's all I can get you the form.
We'll get the form for you. Yeah. And we'll help you fill it out. Any other questions on Real ID? No? Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the property tax rent rebate application. So if any of you do take advantage of this, it's either the rent rebate portion or the property tax portion. There have been increases to this as far as last year's budget was concerned. They increased the eligibility, which helped a lot more people be able to take advantage of the program. Applications are due by June 30th. If you've received this before, maybe last year, the year before that, or you have questions on it, please let us know if you'd like to know if you're eligible, and we'll help you figure out that eligibility. If you already know that you're eligible, just a reminder that June 30th is the deadline to apply. And we can answer any questions personally, one-on-one, if you'd like. All right, SEPTA Senior Key Card. So the SEPTA Senior Key Card program is funded through lottery funds. So whenever you see the Pennsylvania lottery commercial benefiting older Pennsylvanians, keep on scratching, all that kind of stuff, that's what's funding it. So the lottery is actually funding the SEPTA program. Seniors 65 and older can ride SEPTA for free. Now, out here you have a bus line, but if you can get yourself to the train station to go to the flower show, to go to the convention center, to go see a show downtown, and there's a bus here, a shuttle, right, that can take you to the train station, I hope?
I will have to confirm.
If there's a large group, I would think.
I mean, we do have transportation, yes.
Yeah. We can help you get the new cards. It's simply just a photo that's taken of you, and then you can get your card. It's free. It expires every 4 years. There is an expiration, just like a driver's license. And it only takes about 5 minutes to get done. They'll send you the card in the mail, so don't worry about that part. They'll automatically send it to you. Any questions on the SEPTA Senior Key Card? Okay. Unclaimed property. This is a good one. So this is a new program that was just announced. I think it was in the news today. It's called Money Match. So basically, if you have up to $500 in unclaimed property, they're going to automatically, and you qualify for it and you have all the stuff for it, they're going to automatically send you the check. So instead of the Commonwealth holding on to your funds in safekeeping that you may have forgotten about, it was an insurance claim or an old paycheck or something like that, they're actually just going to send it to you. I haven't witnessed anyone get this yet, so I think we'll probably be having some people come to our office soon being, is this a legitimate check? What is this? Should I cash it? Should I not cash it? Who's trying to scam me, et cetera? No, it's legitimate. If you do have questions, come to our office and we can help you out with that. But unclaimed property basically is the state treasury is in charge of holding in safekeeping any monies or properties that an individual was gifted, inherited through an inheritance or anything like that, but didn't know about it. Sometimes you're written into a will of somebody and you didn't even know you were. This is one of those examples. Or maybe you had an insurance claim, forgot about it, never got it, went into the unclaimed property, or an old paycheck from a job a long time ago. sits in the unclaimed property. So if you're interested to find out, it's free money, by the way, it's yours. It's not like you have to pay for it, and there's nothing to pay. But if you have some that might be yours, might be worth looking into it. And if you have a question of whether or not you have property within the Pennsylvania Treasury or money, ask us and we'll do the search for you. And if it shows up, we'll let you know how to get it. Any questions on that? We've had some very big individuals or checks that have been issued to individuals. In fact, there's one a few years back. I called up a homeowner. They lived in Salford Township, and I said, "Ma'am, you have about $40,000 in unclaimed property. Do you want to claim it?" "Oh, that's with the side of the family I don't talk to anymore. I'll have to talk to them." I was like, "I'm not getting in the middle of your family dispute. However, I just want to let you know you have about $40,000. That's yours if you want it."
I have a question about that. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Will they get letters in the mail or when they have unclaimed property money?
If somebody has unclaimed property, you don't automatically get a letter in the
Okay.
mail saying like, "Hey, this is yours."
Right.
You have to, it's like you have to
Initiate.
ask for it.
Okay.
Now, with this new money match program, they're going to be looking for ways to match up the dollars with somebody. So if it's up to 500, is it 500 or more up to 500?
I think it's 500.
500 or more.
They send it automatically up to 500. If it's more
Automatically
than
up to 500, more than that, you have
apply
to
for it.
apply.
And,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's complicated because you have to prove that, above a certain amount, there's a higher level, a burden of proof for collecting it, and we can help you with that. Yeah.
Any other questions? We can check the database for you too, and there's a website you can go to look at it as well. Sometimes it's fun. You put in your name, see what pops up. Maybe it's a neighbor of yours that you know, and hey, I found this for you. I've done that before. And then there's much more that we do. So those 3 jobs that we talked about were bringing money back to the district, laws and legislation, and then constituent service. But there's a lot more that we do too. So for instance, like, these are just a few photographs of some events that we've attended over the past couple of months, actually. Top left corner is the International Spring Festival. That's myself and Senator Collette. We're both Greek American legislators. So we were there on behalf of our Greek heritage, but also celebrating the international festival as well. It's a business opening, giving a check to a fire company to help them get some repairs, and also another business visit that we took. All right. So in 2024, a recap of last year. So we're almost 6 months into 2025 now, but in 2024, we've done just close to 6,000 total cases of constituent service. Just over 3,000 were unique constituents. So unique individuals. Sometimes we have frequent individuals that come in for help on many different things, but these are 3,000 unique constituents that came in, just over. And then we did about just over 1,000 SEPTA passes. That's either new or renewed now.
Yeah, and we're on track to beat that this year.
Good. Numbers are good. Here's some other photos. Just wanted to show, we gave a citation to, I think that top left one, it's hard to see, but that was a swimming team, a relay team from North Bend High School. They got the gold medal in the state championships. We went to an outdoor fair a couple weeks back at the Jason Community Center with the Korean community. That's Governor Shapiro signing my bill, one of my bills last year. In some committee meetings, our senior fair, the one with the 2 trophies. Anybody notice the 2 Super Bowl trophies in there? That's the Eagles Super Bowl trophies. That was just last 2 weeks ago on the House floor. We had the 2 Lombardi trophies in the House. And then many, many other events that we've attended over the past. Harleysville Hank, you can see on the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah, Harleysville Hank is on the bottom with the groundhog and the man in the top hat. That's the infamous, probably the third most famous groundhog, because I think the second most famous groundhog is from the lottery, next to Punxsutawney Phil. And then you have the third most famous groundhog, which is Harleysville Hank. All right, upcoming events. So, our Family Fest, that includes everyone, all ages. This is going to be at Souderton, at the Borough Park in Souderton. We are really excited. June 21st, show up at 10 a.m. or go till noon. Then you can go to the pool right after it. Local resources for the entire family. So tell your grandkids, tell your great-grandkids if you have them, tell your children to bring their kids, and tell your friends and family as well to show up to our Family Fest. Myself and Senator Collette are hosting it. It is free to attend, snacks, games, music, all sorts. It's a really fun time and definitely worth heading over. So you're a short walk away from the park, which is great. So that's a really, really good thing. And then the second thing that we have up there is a free shredding and e-waste recycling event. That's going to be on May 31st. We're hosting it at the Montgomery Mall, so in the parking lot right by the old J.C. Penney's where the Sears is, or what used to be. And so you can bring your shredding of paperwork and also your old electronics. So not TVs though, no TVs. Those are not accepted. Don't bring anything that is like a hazardous material of some sort. They do recycle old car batteries. They will do that. In addition to that, your old vacuum cleaner, your old dryer, like not your drying machine, but hair dryers, toaster ovens, microwaves, etc. All those things that you're no longer utilizing or that you don't have any use for, or all the charging cables from your various renditions of cellular phones that you've had over the years, those you can recycle as well. And that's a really important thing. Also, if you have an electronic toothbrush, for instance, you can bring that to recycle because there's a lithium-ion battery inside of it. They'll be able to recycle that too. So a lot of things are battery operated now, more so than they were before, and they're not all alkaline batteries. So sometimes they have lead acid or lithium-ion, and those have to be recycled properly. Any questions on those two events at all? No? And do we have copies of the flyers?
Do not.
Can we get you copies of the flyers to send to the community? Is that all right? Awesome. Any questions at all? And we'll wrap up with our final slide, but then I'll answer any questions you might have. So anything at all from what we went over or what's going on now in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or in the country? I can't speak for the federal necessarily, but I can speak to some of the impacts. Any questions? No? Is everyone ready to have a nice Memorial Day coming up? Yes.
Not a question.
Go ahead.
I appreciate what I get on the computer.
Newsletters, email. Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate that. And any feedback you have, please let us know as well. What more do you want? What maybe less of something? Please let us know that too. No other questions? Yes, in the back. And then we'll come to you.
Render's rebate, when did they issue that? Like we're entitled
July.
July. Yeah, in July.
to July.
Yeah. If you apply for it and you're waiting on it, yeah, July. Yes.
It's not a question. I feel I'm being harassed. I get up to 5 calls a day, and it's from that Medicare, Part A and Part B. I have a representative. I have told these folks, I don't need your phone calls. Yet I've marked down all the numbers from all over, and they call me, and it's every single day, except on the weekends.
Understood.
And to me, it's an invasion of my privacy. And I've called Harrisburg, and I have talked to the Attorney General's office, and they said the only thing you can do is not answer the calls and have people leave a voice message. But sometimes I'm on the phone with doctors, and I get these calls. And you know, it's like I don't have any privacy.
Is this on a cellular phone or is it on your landline?
It's on my
On your cell phone?
Yeah.
And so I get calls as well, not for Medicare yet, that's probably coming. But I get a lot of calls from all sorts of different solicitors will say, soliciting for whatever. If I don't recognize a number, I'm not even answering it. I just send it off. Like, and there's a way to just decline a call, and it's okay. Because think of it this way. If something is really, really serious and somebody knows who you are, either you're going to already know who they are, or they're going to leave a message for you. And if they don't leave a message, it's a spam call. And a lot of times, it'll even come up as a spam risk. Don't even answer it.
But now, one time it said health care. Another time it's really, they can be devious.
Yeah,
One
they
time
can.
in my church, I mean,
Just
It's devious.
silence your phone, don't answer it, and just, if they leave a message and it's bogus, you can delete it as well. There's nothing we can do to prevent somebody from giving you a phone call. That's the unfortunate part. And that do not call list expired. So that is not even in existence anymore. So you remember years back, there's a federal do not call list.
no, we
and
still
signed it.
have it. They still have it. They still gave out the number.
Yeah, they don't, there's no way to police it, unfortunately. And that's the bad part, because they have these auto dialers that go through, and maybe it's from somebody you want to listen to or want to hear from, but a lot of the time, there's no way to actually enforce that call coming in. It's like, if somebody just gave you a phone call and you're like, well, I didn't want you to call me, well, I didn't know that you didn't want me to call you, type thing. But my suggestion to you is we can try and bring it back up to the legislature again and try and bring it to the Attorney General's knowledge. But in the meantime, my suggestion to you is ignore them all. And if it's really important, they'll leave a message for you.
Thank you.
Is it true if you block a number, they'll keep sending more messages on different numbers?
Is it true if you block a number, will they keep sending you new messages from a different number? I've blocked several numbers so far. I've sent them to junk. I've sent them to all sorts of things. There's always another number that someone's going to utilize. So say that number that you blocked goes in through your phone and they don't get through with the call. Sometimes they have software that'll just pick up another number and call it anyway. Yeah.
Should you block them or no? I heard there was an increase of calls if you start blocking them.
I don't know if it's like, you know that whole story of like, if you pick the gray hair, then 10 more grow. I don't think it's like that. I really don't. I think it's more of, if you block one, they're not going to be like, well, he blocked one, so therefore we're going to send 10 more. I don't think it's going to happen. But they may try with another number. That's just the reality. I've blocked a lot of numbers. Don't worry about it. And I've gotten less, actually. Now, as campaigns ramp up, you'll get text messages, tons of text messages. Oh my gosh. The last election cycle for the presidential election, I cannot remember in a day where I didn't get a text message. In fact, I got probably 30 of them in a day. And all from different groups, both sides. Any other questions? Yes.
My driver's license and the application yet. I'm no longer the doctor was I couldn't capture it. She was very impressive. And I leave the office and I'm putting her orders for operating money. You know, it's all about my phone.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
But the letter is confusing. All I want is the ID.
Do you have the letter?
But she went online and she was younger, but she went online and she said it costs more for the ID than for the driver's license. So would it be better for me to send the application for my driver, or is that permanent?
I'm going to have one of our staff members work with you one-on-one. The question's about driver's license versus the ID card, very similar to your question. Yeah. If you want to give your daughter our office contact, we'll talk to her directly, and then we'll get to the bottom of what the best. Yeah, she should. Yeah. Okay, and we'll help out to help you.
I don't know if it's going to be, but I really can't. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be. 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 I don't know if it's going
It's not a very complicated process, but we have to go through it, so.
Forms and they make my birth certificate and stuff.
That might be for Real ID is what I'm thinking. Yeah, have her call and we'll help you out. No worries. Any other questions? Anything at all from staff or from anyone else? No? Okay, well, I thank you for coming. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate your participation. I know it was a smaller group, but that's okay because I actually like that. Additionally, I wish you all a wonderful holiday coming up for Memorial Day. If you get to one of the services, please remember that these are our fallen heroes that have passed in war. So appreciate everyone, and next time we see each other, hopefully you'll have had a great summer. So thank you.